a town you never heard of. Hey everybody, welcome to the Common Folk Podcast with Ben, Morgan, and Andy.
All right, welcome back to Common Folk.
That's right, podcast for the people, by the people. There it is.
Yes.
We've done a couple. Well, we did one episode without Andy. We did that spur of the moment one.
Yeah, and I didn't sound good.
Morgan did the intro.
It was not good.
I thought it was all right.
You're just being kind.
No, at least you made the effort. Ben wouldn't even make the effort.
Right, yeah.
So,
yeah, I'm just freaking bummed.
but yeah, at least you got out there and got after it.
Yeah,
so.
I was trying to do the Andy voice.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
It
You
is
should
not easy.
Can you trademark your voice?
Oh, I don't know. I'm sure people have done something like that,
Or like get
tagline
insurance
something.
on your voice. People get insurance on their ass.
Right. You're
Like,
talking
can
about
you do that?
like Jennifer Lopez?
Yeah. Is that a thing?
I suppose. I don't know.
I mean, Andy, you got the
Yeah.
voice, so you
Oh, I
better
got the
start.
voice.
What if someone comes up to you and just it's gone?
I don't know. Maybe I'm more worried about dying.
Oh,
Then you get an insurance payout.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Then your
Yeah.
Ashley and your kids would be good.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to look into that, I guess. Well, we had that. We've had a couple like lawyers and
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to get him back
I mean,
on.
yeah,
see
we could
about
ask
that.
Madden about that.
Yeah.
We could. Yeah, we've got some lawyer contacts we could find out.
I bet a guy like that has heard just about everything, like crazy type
Probably.
of stuff.
Yeah,
So,
like
Speaking of lawyers, I got a letter,
oh
or I got
God.
an email
Okay.
for Farm Focused from some law firm in New York, disability.
What?
And then it's got this PDF attachment to it that doesn't look like spam, so I clicked on it. Hopefully I didn't get a virus.
Oh boy.
Oh, I'm sure you did. Now you got another one.
And it's a letter from a law group in New York that says they're representing some client who is legally blind and can't properly use our website.
Oh, okay.
All right.
So what are we supposed to do for that?
The Farm Focus website?
Yeah.
So you're supposed to do it in Braille, or what are we talking
I
about?
don't know.
Like,
So
what are we supposed to do?
are you going to send the screenshot to our lawyer?
I guess, but that's going to cost me $300.
No, send Madden this podcast because we're talking about him. What is his group? We're going to give him a shout out. Make sure he's your lawyer. Can you, Madden? Can you
put
credit
me
us
on the-
$300,
You
please?
put me on the spot.
So just saying,
Let me
like,
see, he is. Oh,
wait,
'cause this was-
one phone call or a text is $300 bill?
They don't do anything for free. It's by the hour.
Even Friends.
Yeah,
I
don't
cut
think so.
Friends' hair for free.
I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't really work like that.
Okay.
I don't know what he's calling his firm now. It was Richardson Madden last time we spoke with them, but they're in Nebraska. They're good dudes. They do a lot of good stuff.
Okay. All right. Well,
But yeah, the rates. I mean, lawyer rates in general. You're $300-$400 an hour.
Boy, this sounds like a scam, though.
that's
yeah,
wrong.
so-
like,
yeah.
Yeah, so it goes through this whole list of all the things they can't do on your website, and basically you have to. It's demanding that you address these things.
that's bull.
And get back to them, and this says something, or risk being sued.
Sure. Yeah. So it's out of fear, Kind of. It has a little bit of a blackmail feel to it,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
totally.
A little bit there.
Yeah, and I don't understand, because you always, if you look at like scam things, you would think it would be something that would say like, what I fully expected was to read the next thing saying, here's the service you can purchase
Oh, sure.
to make your website,
Yeah.
capable of being used by the blind or whatever. But it doesn't even say anything like that.
Well, they probably
So-
don't want you to do that because they want to leave the door open to be able to, keep that scare alive.
You got to look up that group from New York and see how legit they are.
Probably a P.O. box. I was hoping we would have a cease and desist or
Yeah.
something, that's fun. That's like when you
You've made it?
Yeah, you've made a ripple, so now
Right.
the higher ups, the big boys are taking notice.
I'm not. I'm for. How do you even say this? I'm not trying to come down against anybody that has a disability, right?
Oh boy.
I mean, I'm
No
not-
disrespect. But
Yeah.
But there's a but.
But let's be logical here. A blind person needs to be able to use a website.
I don't know. I did.
How in the actual hell does that work? Like it says in here that something about like they can't. Where does it say here?
There should just be an audio button or something. Like it reads it.
It says the requirement that transactions be performed solely with a mouse. Like how does a blind person use a mouse
And know
and a
what they're
computer
clicking
screen?
on.
Yeah, and what they're looking at.
Yeah.
I mean, literally looking at.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or the
I don't
only
know.
the only thing I can think of is that like you could be classified legally blind but still see some stuff.
I wonder if it's like we went through this with when we were putting the hunting show, making it TV ready.
Okay. Yeah.
And we got to skip over this process of subtitles for the people with hearing disabilities. And that was a big, expensive thing to do, to put it
To get them added?
Yeah, to get that added or get that capability to where every TV across the nation can do that. So that's what I thought this would be. Would there's something to a website that would, I don't know, read
Read for you,
audio,
yeah.
something.
audio, and so like it probably is some service that you have to pay for or that is out there. I don't know, but this is the first I've ever heard of anything like that.
I could 100% see something where it would read to you. It would have some kind of audio feature. But if you can't see,
Yeah.
how do you even click on something
do
to
you know what
hear
you're
the reading
clicking on?
part of it? Yeah,
And
Right.
use a mouse.
I don't know.
yeah.
This is a bizarre one. I don't know. I don't know what to think of this.
Man, Farm Folk is going down, going down.
The blind,
Okay.
blindly taking you down.
Yep.
Okay,
Anyway,
next.
back to real
Look
life.
what I opened.
What you opened? Where? What?
Well, this can of worms.
Oh, I thought you were getting a drink or something already.
Oh,
Freaking-
yes.
Not quite.
Not.
It does seem odd, though. Let's see. This cup is there. Is there like a freaking ghost at the table, or what do we got this position
This
for?
is just a Farm Focus cup. What do you
I
mean?
just kind of put it out
I don't
there.
know. Oh, okay.
If
I
you're
thought
watching
maybe
on.
like someone was sitting there and
If people are looking at
I
YouTube,
can't see them.
you can
but
get this
you guys
at
can.
at farmfocus.com.
Okay.
Code CommonFolk, get you 20% off this bad boy right here.
No, I like it.
Yeah.
Doesn't it not look like though someone's sitting there?
It does.
And,
It does kind of feel like we're like someone's gone and
Yeah.
we left a seat open for him or something. Yeah, there you go.
You're weird.
I mean, we're all
so
drinking coffee, so
Let's get to like
'Kay.
real life things.
us three.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about our buddies at Barn Owl.
Okay, let's get into it.
So Barn Owl, we set up, and the reason I want to talk about this is because it's turkey season. So we got the Barn Owl camera set up down in the woods, and we're scouting turkeys, trying
That's
to figure
a deep
out.
ravine too. Not much
It is
works down there.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, the spot that we're hunting, and what we were talking about was the fact that these Barn Owl cameras are cellular connected. When we go down there, we've been hunting because season's been open for about, I don't know,
Couple weeks.
yeah, with you as far as youth goes. So we go down there, we sit in the blind. Our phones don't work, which is good. You know, I'm sitting there with my son. He wants to get on his phone and screw around, whatever. He can't. He can play some games that are loaded on the phone, but he can't connect
Right.
internet.
Right.
And the camera's 30 yards from us, sitting in the same spot. But the camera is literally sending out photos, so it's connecting.
Like,
It's-
are you on the pictures? You
yeah,
guys in the
when,
blind?
when we go walking up to the blind, yeah.
Do you like do something crazy?
No,
Oh, okay. For the camera, like
no,
Okay.
I don't. No.
okay,
You just go hunting.
okay.
I got a story for you, Mark.
Anyway, so I'm seeing, obviously when we're not down there throughout the day, the evening, at nighttime, whatever, early morning if we're not there, I'm getting the photos from the camera
Yeah.
to my phone, which is pretty sweet. So we're able to kind of see the patterns
Yeah.
that the animals are coming in. Although we haven't, disappointingly, but good for the birds, we haven't identified any like solid patterns. Like,
Yeah.
okay, every day at 6:30 they're
Yeah.
coming through. Like that hasn't been. They've been sporadic, but it's been interesting to see them.
Yeah.
To at least know what's down there. So the camera's working well, man. We've got the solar panel hooked up. I just checked it. It's been down there for a few weeks. The battery still says 100%. The other camera that we were running was smoking 8 batteries in like probably 2 to 3 months.
Yeah. Well, and I think that had to do with the sensitive trigger it would have. So it'd like take pictures of just branches moving and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
For the most part, I know there's settings to it and everything else, but for the most part, it feels like Barn Owl doesn't do that. So
Yeah,
that's good.
right. Yeah,
Okay.
and you do have all those settings on your app. But the point is we're putting that thing through the ringer down in the woods where we've been using it for surveillance up on our road, and that's been working pretty well. But we'll have some more data on that. But if you have any interest in Barn Owl stuff at all, if you want to set up for game cam, if you want security, if you want to monitor your property, you want to monitor animals, whatever the case may be, go to Barn Owl's website, barnowl.tech. Use the code FARMFOCUSED, FOCUSED, all one word, and you get 10% off anything on their website. So check them out.
And they're veteran owned, which is cool.
They are, yep, and we're hoping to have their owner on pretty soon. That's one of the things we've been talking about, so that'll be interesting.
That'd be cool. Out of Colorado.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You said that.
Yeah, they're not far.
You know what? When you've pulled up your picture before and it's the one on the road, like it will even do like a paw print, like it senses it's our dog. Like it is kind of cool.
They call it some kind of AI identification in there, so it figures out what is in the shot, and it'll tell you animal, person, vehicle, whatever.
Oh, okay. So animals just in general. It's not like saying what kind of animal it is.
Right. No.
Okay. I thought that's a little
Either
crazy.
way, it's cool
Yeah.
because you can set up your notifications where like it'll pop up on your phone and it might say person detected,
Ooh.
animal detected, whatever.
Right, which you
so
need.
if you don't want to waste your time and going in and looking at a photo, you can just see, an animal's detected. I'm not worried about an animal being on that camera. I'm only worried about a person coming in.
I like that.
You're only looking for vehicles, not a dog or a deer.
right.
Or
Okay.
whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Cool.
Now, years and years ago, before Barn Owl was around, we were setting up a big old food plot out in the middle of the pasture. Remember when we took you on that ride and those grasshoppers were all over you?
Uh-huh.
So we're out in that area.
Unforgettable moment.
Scary stuff. And so we get this real nice ground tore up, and we plant this thing, and we put a trail camera on one of the posts, on the corner posts. And I was out there just maintaining. I think we were doing a second seeding or something, put in some clover. And this was Dad's trail camera. So it was the one that he would always go out every other day to run the dog and check it and everything else. And I, like you were saying, just to play games or to have fun, we had an old chainsaw in the back of the pickup truck. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, Ashley, this is going to be really funny, but I want you to like run across like you're running from something. Then I'm going to trail you with the chainsaw. And I did that just so Dad would be going through the pictures and see that. And
What did he say?
nothing. He accidentally deleted the whole card. I'm like, I knew it. I knew he was going to do that. He totally deleted the whole thing because I was like sitting on that for like a half a year. I'm like, when is he going to bring that up? Yeah, when is he going to bring that up? So I finally couldn't take it. I asked him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't know what I did. I couldn't get any pictures off of that thing. I don't know." I'm like, so I looked at it. Yeah, it's like you cleared it.
Funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
It would have been funny, but
Yeah.
it got soiled. Though.
That is one of the cool things about having a cell connected camera too, because then it all goes to your phone and you don't have to worry about that. Because I've definitely had like corrupted SD cards or whatever.
Yeah.
And like a game cam in particular is one of those things, like when you go and pull the chip, if you're not cellular connected, like it's kind of an exciting event because it's been like a week or two or however long you wait. And you're like, man, what is it? What's on there? Mm-hmm. And then you get back, you go back to your computer and you plug it in and defect.
What's going on?
And you lose everything. There's nothing there, like it didn't, something was wrong with the chip. And you're like, ah, dang it. Oh, I've been waiting a week for this.
Yeah. Yep. So that's exactly what happened to my prank. So
shoot.
And Ashley even played along, like she had her arms up, like going, nah, so it would have been funny, but dang it.
Well, I like that, honestly, because down there, that's where I shot my deer. I couldn't get a hold of anybody. Like I kind of run up to the hill so that it's cellular.
Yeah.
It has that. Where's their sun down there that it actually is charging the solar?
It comes through. I mean, we set it up the way we set up the solar panel.
Okay.
You can see it. I mean, it doesn't, that's the thing, is the solar panel doesn't get like
a ton.
A big period of direct sunlight, but it gets enough that it's charging those batteries.
Yeah, because I feel like there's tons of shade down there. Okay, that's cool.
And
I need to go check it out.
And we took Andrew down there with the Nebraska Forestry.
Yep.
Yes, Nebraska has a forestry department. And it was pretty interesting listening to him talk about the different trees down there and all the biodiversity. And I got the feeling that if you took out 4 or 5 trees, you would have a lot more sunlight and it wouldn't hurt a darn thing. Like he didn't seem to think, I think he was kind of impressed with the number of trees and mature trees.
Yeah.
And just the diversity of trees that were down there. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, because all the trees look the same to me.
It was cool to walk around with him and like do some of that identification.
Yeah.
I went down in the woods last night back here to the east, and just walking through, I started seeing some of the trees that we were looking for that I didn't realize were back here. I want to have him back and walk him through over here.
Yeah.
Because we were looking for, in particular, we were looking to see if we had good population of hickory for barbecue.
Yeah.
And we found a few of them over there on the west side.
Yeah.
But I think back here on the east side, I found a bunch of
There's
them.
more?
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Because I got the feeling you didn't want to maybe cut these hickories because you liked them. You want to leave them there maybe.
Yeah, and there really wasn't a ton of them.
Yeah.
They were kind of like here and there. So I really don't want to pluck out a good, healthy tree, that there isn't a
Right.
bunch of,
And you also have a good number of bur oak, but you'd always like to have a few more. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So
Yep.
you always like to see those ones.
Yeah. No, that was cool to have him out.
And we had him on the pod.
Yep, we did. Yep.
Yeah.
Get
So
him
he
back
was
on the pod.
he was interesting to talk to. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep. So what do you got? Andy, you had an idea for today. We obviously don't have a guest. We kind of go back and forth with and without guests. Sometimes these episodes with just us discussing something are fun. And you had something you were thinking about.
Well, I listened to your guys' talk with Cole Sonny a few times, editing and then making sure it loaded and everything else, on all of our platforms. And I thought it was a really interesting conversation. First off, how he had kind of an opposite view of our Sandhill Slims guy.
Oh, okay.
Where he's like, man, I got to get out of here. This place is suffocating me. I'm doing all this work and no one appreciates me. Then he went off to college.
Yeah, right.
And Cole was the opposite. He's like, from day one, he's like, I want more bucket calves and this and that.
Yeah.
So his demeanor from early on was, oh, this is where I'm going to work. This is where I'm going to be. So it's just kind of, it's one of the things I really appreciate or kind of get out of this podcast is everybody has a different story and nobody's wrong. Like there's,
right.
I wouldn't say either of those guys had a misconception or a wrong path to where they got into. It's just life.
Yeah.
Right. So, no, I just found that very interesting, and he felt like he got to know Cole a little bit, even though I wasn't there. He still got in on the conversation, And that little video you took, Morgan.
Yeah.
It got me thinking of this study that was done in 1999 called the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Okay.
And there's been a lot of discussion around this, but I don't think you can deny that there's something to the Dunning-Kruger effect. And it was when, Ben, you were asking him, okay, so you run whatever it was, 500 head of cattle. You also do 2,000 acres of row crops. Are you a farmer or are you a rancher? What are you? And Cole, I could tell, he straight up said, oh, I don't know. He was being real cordial, but he did not want to call himself a rancher.
Right.
Or a cowboy.
Yeah, see, and I didn't know why.
And I think there's a little bit of the Dunning-Kruger effect going on with that.
Okay, so is there a definition of Dunning-Kruger?
I'll read it to you right now.
Okay.
It's a cognitive bias where people with low ability or knowledge overestimate their competence or their ability, while those with a high understanding or a high skill level of skill, they underestimate their knowledge and their skill level. So what ends up happening is the people that don't know what they're doing, they go in there with this skewed view of themselves. They overestimate their competence or their ability. So it's one of those things where I think you hear or see it a lot where maybe someone says, oh, well, that freshman, of course he made that shot. He doesn't know any better. I think it's a little bit of that. Where if a senior has all this experience, knows how difficult it is, knows how difficult making that shot is, knows all the time and effort, and knows the kid that's defending him, he's a 4-year starter, one of the best defenders. He's aware of all these things. So he might miss the shot or not even take it because he knows how difficult that shot is.
Okay.
So what ends up happening is dumb people end up having a lot of success or get put in managerial or boss positions, while people that really know what they're doing or what's going on, they kind of lay back in the weeds and let, you could say, these more loud people kind of take control, even though they don't have the skill set.
Part of that, though, too, in what you're saying is, and I know you said like dumb people will get, might have more success or get more positions or whatever, but that more of it could potentially be like a paralysis by analysis kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like overthinking?
Right, yeah. So the people who are more experienced will sit there and overthink it, and that'll...
Yep.
The experience that they have will slow them down, will bring them down, whatever, where someone with less experience is just going in it, guns blazing, and not letting all of that minutia slow them down. So it isn't necessarily about dumb. It would be more about like inexperience that prevents their direction from getting clouded or slowed down or whatever.
You're exactly right. And that's how a lot of people frame it is, well, since they don't know what they don't know, they just do. So I think there's a lot of holes poked into this study done by David Dunning and Justin-Kruger back in 1999. Like, it also doesn't account for, you could even say, like, common courtesy. Like, if you know everything on this certain topic, but this one person's very confident in what he's saying, you don't want to cut him off and come across as a dick and correct him every 2 minutes. You know what I mean? You want to just let him talk, let him have his time. So there are some holes in this story. And getting back to Cole, Sonny, my thought was, and what I was picking up on, he didn't want to call himself a rancher because he knows what real ranchers in his mind, what they look like, how they present themselves, and that is their day job. They are on a horseback, 200 days out of the year. Like Yellowstone. Okay. So he does, even though he is more of a cowboy, more of a rancher than 99% of the United States, he still was not comfortable calling himself a rancher. Yeah. And that's because he knows what he knows. Now, if he didn't know what he didn't know, like if, let's say he was just an 8-year-old and he just started, working cattle with dad, and he had a cowboy hat, he would 100% say, "Yeah, I'm a rancher."
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just that's how I took it, and maybe there was more to it, but I think Cole was very reserved and didn't want to offend. I think he even said the word offend in that short video we put out there. Yeah, so, and that's because, he did not want cowboys or ranchers to be coming down on him, even though he is more of a rancher than most of America.
That is interesting because those, like you said, the majority of people are not even close to what he is.
Right.
Cowboy, rancherish, whatever, being a rancher, but real deal ranchers, cowboy. I mean, you think of like an older person, not chaps, but, just like straight. Yes, that's what I think of a rancher too. Yeah. But if he said that, I wouldn't have been like, that's not you.
You're not a rancher,
Huh.
No, and I think you see it. You see this effect across the board, and I do believe it accounts for a lot of things. And I kind of touched on it earlier, where, have you guys ever read the book? I doubt it. Moneyball over the Oakland Athletics.
Was there a movie?
Yes.
I saw the movie.
Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
So. A little bit of a backstory on that. The GM, Billy Beane, for the Athletics, who adopted that way of constructing a team, he was a professional baseball player himself. But he couldn't get out of his own way, and he recognized that. Early on in his career, when he was a rookie, him and a teammate by the name of Lenny Dykstra, who's kind of a dumbass, but I liked him. His nickname was Nails. He was part of a couple of really cool teams, fun teams for the Philadelphia Phillies. And anyway, they're going back and forth in the dugout, getting ready to go at bat. And there was a Cy Young up on the mound, and Billy Beane's like, "Oh my God, I hope I last 3 pitches with this guy." And Lenny, with big old chaw, goes, "I can stick him." Like, he had no clue who this guy was. Like, he's just unaware. Like, he didn't know what he didn't know. So of course Lenny Dykstra went up there and got a base hit a double or whatever. Yeah. And of course Billy Beane struck out. So
what does that show you?
Yeah. So
it's there's a mental, stuff.
Yeah. You put yourself through all these mental gymnastics, and I think this Dunning-Kruger is just so interesting how it puts like a framework to it. But it doesn't account for everything. But I think there is a lot going on there where you can I don't know, draw a lot of conclusions up to that.
For sure. Yeah. No, that mental state has a huge effect on it. And I don't think you should have the mentality of like, I can do anything and everything. And I'm like in that scenario, like, I don't know that you should have that mentality of doesn't matter who steps up to this play or who's pitching. I could hit all of them. I'm better than all of them. You know, like, I mean, I guess there's something to that mentality for some really high performers, but I don't really think you should think like that. But on the other hand, you definitely shouldn't think, man, the cards are stacked against me, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
That you definitely should not think.
You got to have the awareness, though. And I think that's where, like, a lot of MMA fighters and professional boxers, like, they have a tremendous amount of respect. And they're basically afraid going into the ring or the octagon. But they also got to have that confidence, you know. So it's I think if you get into the Dunning-Kruger effect, you see different bell curves and different charts, and there's a point where the two lines cross, and I think that's where your optimal athletes, optimal CEOs are at, where they've done their homework, they know the subject, but they also understand their limitations. And the Dunning-Kruger explains, well, this is why so many people don't ascend to where they should be. And this is why so many people that probably shouldn't be in that position probably shouldn't be running that company. That's why they're there.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what they don't know. Like,
is that kind of being like a little naive too?
I don't think so.
Or like almost dingy, like, I'm just here. Or no?
I think there's an overconfidence, though. I think it's a confidence deal where
it's more confidence.
Yeah, where since a lot of the studies talk about chess players. So, like, if you just started playing chess for a couple of years and you're beating all your friends and you won a local tournament, you're thinking you're pretty damn good at chess. But if you've been playing chess for a long while and you do any kind of research on it, you know, oh, man, there's thousands of guys that could just demolish me. Like, they're so many moves ahead of where I'm at. And so, like, I don't know. It's just so interesting to me when you think why. Why is that person so confident in what he's saying? Does he actually know? Or is there a little bit of the Dunning-Kruger going on there? Like, he doesn't know what he doesn't know.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be mad at the guy.
Yeah, or does he not want to know? Like, does he just want to be in that mentality of, I got this. I'm handling this. I'm the best. And
worked last time.
And gets a bunch of success from it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I definitely don't think it's all bad.
Right.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, I think the biggest takeaway for me, or I don't know if you want to call it sad, it's that there's so many more people out there that are knowledgeable or have a high skill level, but since they know that there's so many people above them or better at them, they don't speak up. They don't act on what they know. You know what I mean? They don't leverage, I guess, their skill set.
And like in their mind, they're kind of lowering themselves and their worth a little bit. Like
Yeah, they don't speak up. They don't say anything because they know, all right, there's a number of people out there that are better than me.
Is there, though, for both of you, can you think of anything where that has worked for you? Like in a scenario?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Okay. Like, would it be a sports thing, or do you think it would just be like work where you go into the studio and you're like, oh, I fucking got this. And you just actually don't. You're just, oh, God.
Yeah, and I think there's something to that as far as like work. Like a work scenario for me is like one of the first times I had to get up and give a presentation in front of people, you know. And I knew the subject inside and out, and I put together a pretty nice, it was shortly after college, so pretty nice PowerPoint compared to what these old fuddy-duddies probably had seen recently. So that all went real smooth. I was, nervous and sweating bullets and this and that, but I knew what I was doing was probably pretty good. If nothing else, I knew my stuff.
Yeah.
And that was at least a crutch to be able to go back on. And then afterwards, guys did come back around to me and say, that was really good.
Okay.
I liked the energy. You laid it out there real nice. So that's where, I do think that was where I hit that sweet spot, right? Where my knowledge also went along with my confidence level.
But did you ask details? Like, did you know how many people were going to be there, or did you kind of go into it? You're like, I know the material. Like, a little bit more blindly. So then
it was
you weren't freaking yourself out as much.
No, it was a continuing educational type of thing, con ed type of thing, and I had to put on a class for that. So like I kind of knew the number and I knew the people that were going to be there.
Yeah.
I get to thinking about this stuff. I would say an example for me in like not business associated, but snowmobiling out with my uncle. Now, when he goes snowmobiling, it's in the mountains and it is extreme and it is rough and you better be in shape and you better have a good sled under you, all these things. And he's a pretty wild guy.
Yeah.
And I knew that he was setting me up for failure. Like he wanted to see me wreck. He wanted to see me tip it over so he could laugh and film me on his cell phone and then text that out to his buddies, he's a wild guy. But I had the mindset of, I know he's not going to put me in real bad danger. And he's also going to give me the tools to pull this off. So if he thinks it's funny, I'm all in. Let's go. And so we get up to this real steep mountain. And you're talking, like a 0 grade. Like this is crazy. And we're already on top of a mountain. It's already scary. We already went through it in our mind. He's like, all right, who's first? Who's going? We're like, what are you talking about? He goes, we'll get to the peak here. Like what? He goes, Andy, go ahead. You go first. And I'm thinking, I'm already shaking my boots. I'm like, yo, all right, let's go. Let's do it. And he's like, all right, here's what you do. You just hammer that throttle, and no matter what, you just keep on that throttle and you just go straight up. Whatever your path is, just go straight. So I did that, and I get to the top, and this sled goes ramping off the top, and I'm in the air, and then I let off when I'm in the air, and I come crashing back down, and I could hear at the bottom everybody was cheering, hooping, and hollering, and they couldn't believe it that I pulled that off. And later on, Uncle Reese goes, I'll be honest with you, Andy, I didn't think you were going to make it. You're the first person that has ever just listened to what I said and did it. Everyone else lets off the throttle about halfway up and then comes tumbling down and wrecks. And that was one of those cases where I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yep.
So just go. Let's go. So, and it was fun. And it was a little bit of a feather in my cap,
Yeah.
But that was definitely where I just had confidence. And I hadn't seen all those videos of people crashing and stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, let's roll.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
It didn't cloud your vision or anything. You were just like, yep.
Balls to the wall.
Boom. Let's go.
Can you think of something? I mean, because I can in my head, but
I would say 100% that I've experienced things like that where afterwards, you look at it and then you learn more and then you're like, man, if I would have known then what I know now, I'd have never done that. Right?
Like on your dirt bike or like
any, I mean, all kinds of things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Where that, you could definitely relate to that.
Because I just don't think you strike me as, well, you're not like an overconfident dude. Either of you guys, whoa. No. So it's just, it's not even so much that, like you're saying, it's just what you don't know, you don't know. So you just.
I think I'm more that I've experienced enough things in life and seen, where you've gone through something and then you've come to this realization that like there's so many people out there that are so much better at me than this, even though. Excuse me, even though I'm killing it right now. You see all that throughout your life and then you realize like this is like this with everything. Yeah. There's never going to be a thing in my life that I'm ever going to be top 10 in the world at.
Right.
I'll do some things that I'll do great, but I'll never be top 10 in the world at it.
Yeah.
So there's always that. So I always approach everything like that. Like, yeah, hey, look, whatever this is, I'm really good at this. There's better people out there, but I'm really good at this particular function or task or whatever, you know.
Did you, because you kind of, climbed the ladder, I would say kind of quick with Napa, and you got put in a position where you were going to individual stores and talking to guys, that had probably been at that storefront for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever go in there and, you told the guy what's up and what he needed to do it, what he needed to do to increase sales or this or that, and then you left, and then a couple weeks later look back like, oh man, I bet that guy thought I was kind of a jackass. I bet he knows more than I did.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I can't think of any specific instances, but you can pretty much guarantee that it happened.
And you were younger than some of those guys, so that doesn't always work, right? When you put an age on it.
That dynamic, but I mean, as far as like my own internal confidence or understanding or whatever, I've always understood that. Like I wouldn't go talking about something that I didn't fully understand. And if I didn't fully understand it, I would go in there and I would talk to that person with an open dialogue.
Yeah.
Where it would be more like, all right, here's what I think we need to do. What do you think?
Yeah.
With your experience, like here's where we need to be. Here's where we are. How are we going to get there? This is how I'm suggesting we get there. What do you think? You know, and then they might say, well, we've tried that before. And here's what happened, and here's what happened. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. All right, why did that happen? You know, and then we dig in that way, rather than just coming in and being like, this is what you're going to do. See you later.
But don't you think that why some corporations, especially ones that go public and get traded, they're looking for guys that have a serious case of Dunning-Kruger.
A lot of them are, yeah.
Get in there, tell them what's up, because
Yep.
we're not worried about what actually works for that demographic or that area.
Yep.
We just want to increase the sales
Yep.
for a short gain here. It's like you,
Yep.
and if you don't know what you don't know, yeah, you're going to go in there guns a-blazing and telling everybody what's up. And I mean, that was kind of your job, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
But don't you think, I think more or less some of your bosses, I mean, because someone always has a boss, right? You just keep having bosses, could have and were like that, where that maybe rubbed you a little bit wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
when they come in and they're like, do, like you're saying.
And that's part of that experience thing. Like when you have experienced that and then, you know, you see it and you see how much it bothered you and the negative effects it had and stuff, then hopefully you gain enough wisdom to not do that to other people.
Yeah.
You know, because it's not effective. Like it just doesn't work. But in some scenarios it does work. It all depends on the you know, the scenario. So I think more in terms of like life and death type situations. So one of the notes I wrote down here, like I can relate a lot of what we talk about to what we experience in the fire department, the volunteer fire department. So that Dunning-Kruger effect, like we have a lot of new guys come in that, you know, guns blazing. Like they don't have any experience. They're ready to just hit the ground running and do everything.
Cut it loose.
Yeah. And you appreciate that mentality, you appreciate that enthusiasm, but you've got to reel them in because they're going to get someone or themselves hurt.
Right.
Oh,
literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what they don't know. So then that all gets taken into effect, you know, straight out of the gate. Where, you know, on the other side of that, guys with a lot of experience might hold back from a few things that maybe they could have been successful if they didn't, you know, because they had seen some of it. So you definitely need a mix of it. But when you get into these life and death situations, like the first part of that of someone with little experience that's super confident is a very dangerous thing.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. And it's dangerous. I was thinking about it when you were talking about like the snowmobiling thing. It's dangerous in that scenario. You don't know what you don't know. You could get hurt.
Oh
bad.
God, you could die.
Yeah.
I did have the thought that, well, I bet he doesn't really want to hurt me, you know, and if I just listen to it, I bet it'll work. But I mean, he was setting me up for failure for sure.
And I think that's the next level of thinking where instead of being just dumbly blind and I'm going in and I'm doing everything, you take into consideration the person who's directing you, the person or the group who's directing you, and you decide what level of trust do I have in this individual or in this group. Because again, back to the fire department, you know, we've got some guys, you know, that have 10 times the experience I do, and I literally have the mentality of if that dude tells me to do this, I'm doing it. And I know that the chances of me getting hurt are less than the chances of me getting hurt.
Because of their experience.
Yeah.
Okay. And
because of their experience, because of the trust that I have in them, the behavior I've seen them display.
Okay.
You know, like if someone says, if that person tells me to run into a burning building, I'm doing it. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's just kind of a statement that people use. So there are people that, you know, even though I don't have XYZ experience, if that dude tells me to do this, I'm not going to be like, oh gosh, I don't think I can, you know, whatever.
Right.
I'm thinking to myself, no, he knows what my capabilities are. He trusts that I can do this. He's seen it before. I'm going.
Yeah, and that's on the other side of that impact where that guy that does have the knowledge, it's critical that he speaks up. And and not keep quiet or take that leadership role. And that's the downside of this, is where the knowledgeable folks really do just keep quiet every now and then. And there's like I said, there's a lot of holes poked in this study, courtesy, people being afraid, people being next level thinkers, like, oh, that's the owner's son. I'm not going to step on his dick. You know what I mean? So like it doesn't take everything into consideration, but I do think it puts together a pretty good framework of how the mental gymnastics we go through when we make decisions, or even when you just engage in conversation at the bar or at a game or something like that. So,
and I'm thinking of like you said, when you're talking about little kids. I mean, little kids, right? There's like not a ton of fear factor.
Yeah.
And so as adults, right, like it's kind of our job that we put a little bit of fear of them, or stranger danger or whatever, or they're just they could hurt themselves. But then it also could cause other issues and anxiety and, all the things. So it's just interesting. Huh?
Yeah. And that gets into a fun little, thing that we do at our house. Ashley always tells the kids, don't do that. Okay, why? Because it's my job to keep you safe. I'm on the other side. I would never say anything like that to any of them. And it's
clearly.
It's more like, well, you got to experience it.
Because you free range your children. That's like a new term. Free range parenting.
Well,
it's literally, I just heard it on the radio. They were talking about it the other day.
Fun.
Just like free range chickens, whatever. It's free range parenting. It's an old school way of like, back in the day, our parents were like, come home when the street lights were on.
Yeah.
A latchkey kid. We just believe that this world is okay and you're going to be okay. Obviously, now we live in different times compared to when we were little, but this new trend is starting where parents are now trying to parent like they were parented.
Yeah.
And although I somewhat agree with that, I don't, because we're just in a different world. But anyways, back to the free range parenting.
No, that's exactly right. Where I want, go ahead and climb that tree, figure out that, you're going to get on a branch that's too thin, you're going to fall, and you're going to maybe break your arm, but you're going to fall and you're going to get hurt, but you're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's where Ashley would put up, don't climb that high in the tree, or don't climb up the tree.
Yeah.
The scary part about that is, again, back to this Dunning-Kruger effect, is they've got all that confidence because they don't know.
Exactly.
But then if they don't break that branch, if they get lucky enough where they don't experience those failures, then they get even more confident and they do even more dumb shit. So where you hope that they would get that low level failure, that would give them, kind of a quick jarring, like, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't do that.
And when they're little kids and are still bouncy and flexible and things like that.
Yeah.
They have 9 lives.
Right. Well, and another side of that is just think about your mindset when you're a little kid and you're like, oh, my parents don't know anything. Mom's so stupid. So you also have that working against you. So I do think there needs to be a balance, and I kind of like what Ashley and I have, where you better listen to mom you better listen to mom. But if she's not looking and it's dad's home, it's dad's night, we're going to have pizza. You're going to watch a movie you probably shouldn't watch. Yeah. And go ahead, climb the tree.
You're going to push your sister down the stairs.
Yeah. Punch a hole in the drywall. It's okay.
Well, yeah, that's already happened. So I can't even be mad. But I mean, I do. I don't want to sound like I'm total free range, but I'm like, don't take the sled down the stairs. It goes way too fast. We've already done this. I've already patched that hole.
Yeah.
You just got to open the front door and let them fly out.
Good God. Come on. Yeah. So a little bit of that, but I do think you need to experience things.
Yeah.
To fully figure it out. And there's a safety element to it. So once again, it's just finding that sweet spot, where those two lines cross.
Yeah.
So Morgan, you said earlier that you had an example.
I said I didn't have an example really for me.
Oh, I thought you said
I can't really think of something where I've been like overconfident like this.
No, I don't think it's even that.
And not even overconfident or going into something blindly. I really can't. I can't think of something for myself. It would have had to been back in the day when I was pretty stupid.
What about like the whole 50-mile march thing that you're going through right now? Like, number one, the 50-mile march to begin with. Like you decided you were going to participate in that. You had never participated in something like that. So
true. I just thought 50 miles doesn't sound like that long, but really, I think in other people's minds, they think it is.
Right, but then you went and did it, and then when you did it, and you're halfway through it, 3/4 way through it, after it, whatever, then were you like, yeah, I underestimated that a little bit?
Yeah, because I thought we weren't going to be walking fast enough. I thought like a 19-minute mile was pretty damn slow.
And
so
again,
I was like, this is...
Again, like it really doesn't matter what the circumstance is. The point is like, did you go into something like that not knowing?
Yeah.
Yes,
because you
I
had
did.
Experience, not, having a little overconfidence and then realizing afterwards like, oh man.
Yeah, so... I totally did. I guess now once you're saying it, I like to go into things a little bit more blindly because I always say I don't like to be disappointed. So I don't get like super pumped about, let's say we're going on vacation. People are like, oh my God, you're so excited. You're going to go to the beach. No, because like, that's not, I don't know that plays into this, but so I think I go into things more blindly, not from the standpoint of, not the confidence, but
like
I don't know.
You don't want to be disappointed. Since you don't know what you don't know, you don't want to.
I don't want to work it up to make it something better than it is.
So you're kind of like shielding yourself from.
Yeah, it's like a defense mechanism, probably.
Disappointment or something.
Yeah, something like that. Like I don't like being disappointed, but so that really is not this. But I do think I for sure went into the 50-mile march way blindly, more blind.
Yeah, because everyone is telling us that it's harder than you think. It's more than just
my
walking.
Gosh, it is way harder.
I knew you had a grasp of that, and they make you do all these different things leading up to it.
But I do think athletic stuff, I do feel like I am probably more confident than other people at age 43 because I was very athletic in my younger years, and I still feel like, okay, I'll go do a handstand. What, do you want me to do a cartwheel? Maybe I could do a back handspring, like get me on a trampoline. Great. Like, let's just go. I'll race my kid. I did a year ago. I'll beat you. There is a little bit of overconfidence in that, I guess. So I don't know. I'm not like some young spruce anymore, but I think I'm thinking I'm probably better than I am. So yeah. Maybe as we've talked this out, I do think maybe the athletic stuff.
Yeah, you got a little. But no, I think there's a healthy amount to it, though. I think you want to have a little bit of a. I don't know. When we talk to Corey, I get that from him a lot. It's like, dude, where's your paycheck coming from next week? Like, I don't know. I think something's going to happen. It always does. I'm so good at my work. I'm so good at filming. I'm so good at editing. It's like, dude, I know you are. I know you are. And
it does for him. It works.
So it's like, he's like leveraging that in a good way.
Yeah.
And it's allowed him to start his own company. Cake is off to the races. It's doing well. So. I think there is a healthy dose of that. Just go into it a little bit blindly and let the chips fall where they may.
And I envy that mind frame because as we talked about earlier, like the paralysis by analysis kind of thing. Like I overthink a lot of stuff, and sometimes I just wish I could just go in and do it because it's going to work. And a lot of times, I try to employ that, but I have to consciously be thinking that. Like, I just need to trust and go and do.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's what brings people success.
You totally do overthink things, but then do it and it will get done. I'll go into things blindly or not do it. There's really no middle. It's like one or the other
all
for
gas.
me.
All gas or no gas.
The other. And he's like a marinator is what I call, like just sitting on it forever.
Gonna mull it
and
over
I'm like,
a
ding,
bit.
ding, ding, go, or nope. Like instantly I hear it. I'm like, I'm out.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
That's funny.
I didn't know you guys never heard of the Dunning-Kruger.
I haven't. I would like someone to do more. I don't know if there could be a more recent study, but you said it's from 1999. Just like to dig a little bit deeper. It'd be interesting.
It's gotten a lot of attention recently, and there's a lot of really cool videos and breakdowns and discussions on YouTube over it. That's kind of where I caught wind of it. And I was talking with some buddies about it on the golf course a couple of years ago, and you see that in golf a lot where people think that they're pretty good golfers. Like, oh, no, you're not. You have no clue, and that's, I think, how that conversation came up.
Yeah, speaking of golf,
What's up?
Well, did we not hear about this? Like the Masters guy maybe didn't win.
Rory didn't win?
Yeah, it's like the whole new thing. Hello.
Oh, wow.
His biggest competitor said that he like tapped the ball before something, so he shouldn't have been in the running blah, blah, blah score-wise.
Well, I'll tell you this.
They're going to go back and they're reviewing it.
I bet he's right. Okay, I don't know anything about this, but I'm going to tell you. It's such a great story about him winning it and finally getting his career Grand Slam. That's all 5 majors under his belt. There's no way that they're going to take that away from him. They've already done the moment. He kissed his kid.
That's what I thought. You can't do that,
his
right?
His wife ran out there
he
and hugged him.
Kissed the ground and was sobbing on the ground.
There's no way.
Yeah.
That happened at the Kentucky Derby, I think, a few years ago. There was a obvious infraction on the winner, and like if you're just going by the rules, you shouldn't have won.
Oh, okay.
And everybody knew it, and we're just sitting there an hour after the race waiting for the verdict, and it's like, well,
too bad. It's too late.
Yeah, I know. It's tough. I don't know. So I think that's where
you'll have to look into that.
I will. That's the first I heard of it.
Yeah, I
that's
saw a thing on it yesterday, but
yeah.
Anyways.
All right, squirrels. We're talking about the Dunning-Kruger effect, not freaking.
Well, you said somehow, yeah, it is squirrel. Golf. What do you got for us?
I don't have anything.
Oh, we're done?
I think like moral of the story for me is that it's something to be aware of, so that you know not only like how this is affecting your own performance, but also like the people around you, especially if you have to, interact with anybody on a business level, on a sports level, on whatever. If you can identify like, okay, that's what that person is doing.
Yeah.
Like I said, just like the fire department, I can identify, all right, that's this new guy's overconfident. We got to reel him in a little bit. We got to get him specific assignments. Yeah. We need to get him training on this, and that, and get him exposure to this, these kinds of things. I think it's a really good tool and like definition of how certain people perform and act that you can use, to make yourself better and to make others better.
And you also don't have to be mad at a guy because he doesn't know what he doesn't know. That's why he has that confidence or that mindset. And so the tragedy that I keep going back to is if you do have the knowledge, speak up. Like share that. There's a courteous way to cut off the young buck there and say, hey, think about maybe doing it this way, and just share your experience. Let them know that, like you're talking about the chief, that whatever he says you're going to do it, well, that's because you know what he's been through. You know what he's done.
Right.
So, I do think it's a really good tool. And it also just, if you're aware of it, every conversation you can kind of pick up on, all right, does this person know what they're talking about or do they not? Should I speak up? It's just kind of I think if more people were aware of it, we would probably have less loudmouths and really deeper, better conversations between each other. If the people that knew what the hell was going on would speak up, and the people that are just being loudmouth for attention or arrogance, whatever, would shut up. I think this is where 80%, like we always talk about the silent majority.
Yeah.
I think the silent majority are part of that. They
True.
would rather just kind of be quiet and let the two loudmouth sides have it out.
Well, and there's a time and place for all that. Like sometimes you need that inexperienced, untainted individual to get after whatever this particular project or goal is.
Yeah.
And so when you identify that that's that person and you have confidence in them and they're not going to get hurt because you have the experience, send them in.
A common thing that happens in baseball is when there's a no-hitter being thrown, it gets into like the 8th or 9th inning, the manager will throw a rookie in there as a pinch hitter. And I think it's exactly this.
There you go, yeah.
Shoot.
That kid has no idea the gravity of the situation. Go out there and get a hit. Don't let us get blanked. So I think people have always kind of been aware of this phenomenon, but never really has there been a framework put to it like we've seen it here.
Yeah,
I like it.
So,
interesting, man. Well, anything else?
I don't think so.
We're coming up on an hour, so
we're coming up on year
quick.
4 here too.
Oh, yeah.
Year 4 of the podcast. How about that?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
We should have a cake.
A cake. You can make
with
one
candles.
if you want to.
A cake. And, Corey, speaking of Corey, he was our first guest ever. Maybe we should have him back.
Have Corey back, have a cake.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. And his company is cake.
Have cake for cake.
There we go.
I mean, we've had him on a couple times, but he's full of it, like not full of shit. Sorry. He's full of it, meaning like he's got a lot to give.
He's got a lot of fun experiences too. I kind of want to hear about some of his travels,
Yeah.
He talks about going to different places around the world.
True.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's hear some of that stuff.
Cool. Well, yeah, maybe we will. I don't know. It's pretty cool. 4 years. That's a long time, man.
It is.
Yeah.
We're still grinding
Good thing
it out.
I still like you guys.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Yep.
You haven't had enough of us yet.
Yeah.
I think I've had enough of you.
All right. Well, I guess that's it. Thanks for listening.
All right.
We're going to shut it down. You guys good?
Yep.
Sounds good.
Peace.
All right. We'll see you.
Later.